Hey, what is up, everybody? Alright, so on day one, they didn't, well, for some reason YouTube basically didn't archive the day one uh, stream, and unfortunately I found out a little too late. I didn't record the stream because I thought that, I could, trust YouTube a little bit more, but for some reason it wasn't archived. So there's no way for me to go back in time, at least yet, and retrieve that stream. So what I thought I would do, just to kind of make it up, is to just read the first chapter, much like you would hear it in an audiobook. I can't necessarily make, you know, voices like some of the professionals or anything like that, but I figure, it would at least be something. And there is a stream for the day 2 and onward, and I will make sure that there's an upload for that. So I will go ahead and get started. So this is Orphans. It's basically a book I'm writing as a challenge for myself over 28 days. It's 50,000 words, and I calculated it to about 1,700 words per day, and I decided to do a chapter per day, and I decided to do it that way because it breaks down into 28 chapters at 50,000 words, so I know it'll be over that. I've already exceeded the minimum every day, sometimes not by much, but it is nice to spend the time to kind of hone your skills. And with this challenge, it's interesting because it is quantity over quality, but I still find myself trying to write the best I can within the limits I've been given. And I'm actually really happy with the results so far. It's amazing what you can do under pressure, and it is a lot of pressure writing 1,700 words. Usually it takes me about an hour and a half to 2 hours. So yeah, there's some pressure there. Not to mention you're streaming it, and so that you're making all these mistakes and blunders in real time, and people can see it. I noticed that in at least day 2, I was having some issues with spelling, which is something I actually consider myself to be pretty good at. I thought I was a good speller, but I'm starting to realize that, I can't spell as well as I thought I did. So, let's go through and read this, and I'm going to read the entire chapter. So, if you want to hear the entire chapter, I'm just about to read it. It is chapter 1. This takes place in France, and it's Fritz. Fritz is one of the characters. His name actually derives from one of the people that was watching the stream. I let them make up the characters' names and kind of who they were, and then I just kind of went along with it from there. So this is Fritz. So The Orphans, Chapter 1, Fritz. Nosy news reporters had already snaked their way into Fritz's life abroad. Their long telescopic lenses poked from corners and between inconspicuous people sitting very relaxed, over tea or delicacies. Fritz had changed his appearance, haircut, beard trim, glasses and hat, hoping in vain that he would achieve what so many celebrities before him would consider their greatest need, a need that exceeded money, fame, and power: privacy. What made matters worse was that Fritz took his vacation in the company of a young, beautiful, and very high-profile diva named Alexis, her stage name being Ixis. Fritz carried a roll of U.S. banknotes in case of an emergency as such, but some of the tabloidists would only take the money and continue their invasive behavior. Fritz could only hold in his contempt, because every action he produced was being well photographed and documented and posted live all across the internet. He had to place his phone on silent. His girlfriend, Emily, who was back in America, appeared numerous times. Fritz hid his face with his sports jacket. Alexis soaked it all in. She smiled and waved to the cameramen and reporters buried in the crowd, servicing only for brief nibbles of Fritz's blown cover. The calls from his girlfriend had subsided only to usher the calls from his drummer, an even worse situation, considering that Alexis was his drummer's girlfriend. When they reached the private parking garage, Fritz turned his phone off. They climbed into a neon green sports car that's engine growled with ferocity. You could feel a shiver of delight escape Alexis in the Mediterranean heat. "How do you draw so much attention?" she said to him with a feral, gratified look in her eye. "Because I'm the best," he said. The sports car ripped along the narrow city street. He swooped between lanes against the grain of the traffic. Fritz pulled into the valet of Le Cour. The valet recognized him right away. He tipped him generously. "It's a rental." He smiled and winked, slapping the man on the back. He told the maitre d' to have a table ready for him as soon as possible. He gave the man time to let it sink into who he was talking to, before he decided to clear a table himself. He slipped the man a generous amount of American dollars and slipped into his seat. The chef came out to greet Fritz, as he requested a very expensive bottle of champagne. Alexis eyed everyone around her with dominance. The onlookers whispered comments, and morose looks changed to abashed and prostrated acts of fealty. Fritz snapped his fingers. The maitre d' with reluctance gated over, and with a fiery look asked, "Monsieur." "My man, a bottle of champagne for every table in this beautiful establishment." Fritz could see the admiration in Alexis' eye when he said it. Fritz ordered one of everything for himself. Alexis ordered a liberal amount of alcohol and barely ate the complimentary hors d'oeuvres. The restaurant was smaller than most, a few tables, and everyone sat most back to back, and little tables and chairs were plain. The space was small, but not anxious, and the swelter of few people talking gave the place a busy and boisterous feeling. Everyone was dressed in very expensive clothing, and the waiter they should have had wore his hair in a fashion that almost mimicked Fritz's before he went incognito and had it cut. As people left the restaurant, they asked for autographs and shook Fritz's hand with a mixture of different spoken languages from all around the world. Fritz knew enough of a few of them to say some phrasing. A few unofficial photographs were taken while he took bites, and at one point started heavily PDAing with Alexis. They had met during a tour. His drummer, Marcus, had met her during a band sabbatical between records and tours. She had a career of her own, but ended up along for the ride, a quarter of the way through the most recent tour. Sometimes she'd sleep with Marcus, very chalant and audible to everyone in the company, whether it be on the bus or in a hotel. They all thought those two were literally inseparable, except that Marcus didn't know that Fritz was with her during the downtime. Every time Marcus turned away, they crept off into some little corner and had their brand of fun. Adrian, the bass player, had found them one night. They were all drunk, and some of them high, and a few other substances. They were all drunk, and some of them high on a few other substances, and Adrian saw them in a hotel pool in the middle of the dark, playing some very intimate versions of water sports. But Marcus never found out, and Fritz liked that. When you had everything you needed, you had to make your own fun. It was almost too convenient finding someone like Alexis. She was an operator in their own little oligarch fantasy. She could do whatever she wanted, snort, smoke, drink, screw, offend anything and everything. They maintained a period of youth where the consequences of their actions deflected and where no were to be seen or recorded, and other than in the living rooms and free time of their patronage. Fritz grabbed Alexis by the hand. They walked out without paying. The maitre d' barred the door and threatened to call the authorities. "You're welcome. De rien. I know, you know, that I just put your restaurant on the map. This place might have been a 5, it's an 11. Because I was here. Everyone's going to want to come here. Come on, man. Get out of my way." Fritz brushed past the group of employees who huddled around the door. The maitre d' stepped aside, and Fritz shoved a $100 bill in his pocket as he walked out the door holding Alexis by the hand. "We're lost," Alexis said after a long and drunken trek around the French city. She had pulled out and was failing to scan a map. When Fritz grabbed it from her and fluttered it out the window. The pull of the paper against the current of the aerodynamic wind from the window on the sports car caused it to shred a little. Alexis chortled in exhilaration as Fritz weaved his way through cars, drinking from a bottle of champagne he took from a restaurant. He turned his phone on to use the GPS. Immediately, his agent was calling. "Yeah, talk to me, money man," Fritz said to his agent. "Hey, handsome. I got an email from someone claiming to be your sister. Man, I'm a fucking orphan. You know I don't have a sister. She got my email through some pretty credible sources. I'm forwarding you the email. Her name is Savannah." "Oh, Savvy. Oh my God. Is she okay?" "Hell if I know, man. I guess you better talk to her. The email seemed alright. She said she just wanted to talk." "Oh my God, Savvy." Fritz hung up the phone and threw it on the dash. "Who's Savannah?" Alexis said, pulling the champagne from his hand and taking a drink. "My sister," Fritz said as they pulled into the private parking garage. The security guard who took his parking pass recognized who he was talking to, but scrunched his nose a little to the alcoholic ambience in the car. "I can't let you leave, sir." "That's all right. We're staying for the night." He tipped the guard and parked the car in a marked-off fire lane. The email on his phone came through. It was Savannah's face as the avatar under her name. The email was brief, directed at his agent, asking if there was any way for her to contact Fritz, or what his whereabouts might be. She left an address and a number. Fritz called it. "Hello?" a male voice said. "Hey man, Savannah there?" Who is this?" "It's the middle of the night." "Just put her on the phone, moron." "This is Fritz. You know me? You know my band, the Orphans? I'm Fritz. Mario Fritz. The Fritz." "You're Mario? I didn't know. I didn't know you were the Mario." "Put her on the phone, man, and stop. You're joking." "Yeah. Hey, Sav. Savannah. Wake up." There was rustling on the other end of the line. He could hear a grown woman's disdainful and groggy moan, and the fumbling of the phone. "Hello?" Mario started crying. He couldn't even talk. He whimpered, and he scuffed a little expensive back. He scuffed the very expensive back to his very expensive sports jacket as he slid down the concrete wall of the parking garage. "Hello? Mario?" "Savannah, are you okay? Is it really you? Don't fuck with me. If this isn't Savannah, if this is a joke, you'll pay." "I'm okay, Mario. I just needed to talk I just needed to talk to you after all this time. Savvy, oh my God, how are you? Savannah's voice crackled as she spoke. I just needed to speak to you. I found my family, Mario. You did? Alexis looked at Fritz with an expression of complete wonderment. She stood cold, with her arms crossed above him, in anticipation. That's your sister? She was yelling to get his attention. Hang on, Sav. Hey, go inside. I'll be right up. Alexis' jaw dropped, and she scoffed at him. Talk to your sister, you tramp. Probably screwed her too. Go inside, Alexis. This is important. The guard stood in his doorless shed, humming and shuffling papers, and acting none the wiser to the charade. Go now, Fritz shouted to her. Savannah, can I call this number? Yes, Savannah said over the phone. All right, Fritz said, wiping the stale tears from his eyes. I will catch up with you. I will call you during the daytime, your time. Savannah sniffled. Okay, Mario. I'll talk to you soon. Hey, Mario? I'm still here. When did I become your sister? Mario had to take a moment to hold his composure and answer. You've always been my sister. You're all I got. You and Sammy. Alexis came back through the sliding doors of the parking garage. She stood against the glass, looking very distraught. When Fritz hung up, he saw that his phone displayed 200 missed calls, and his social media feeds were in the tens of thousands. God bless his agent. Alright, so, reading it out loud, I'm not, like I said, I'm not a professional. I don't work for any of the professional recording studios, so I'm not looking for any awards or anything. Reading it out loud, you do see a lot of typographical errors, and there's a lot of grammar that's pretty bad. But you do have to consider that I did write this in about an hour and a half, and it's all one go. Like, I just wrote 1,726 words. So, not bad. It's definitely just train of thought. Just the way that I think about it is I'm just trying to visualize how to bring something out of a character and how to just contrast that. So I wanted to show Fritz as this kind of inconsiderate playboy, somebody who has extremely large amounts of success and not a lot of maturity or manners or self-control. And I think I kind of nailed it, but there's more to Fritz than what you're seeing here, that I've come up with so far, at least. And it's really hard to marry this all together, writing from day to day, writing chapter to chapter, one day to the next. And I usually do this right after work. Just make some time to do this. So if you do watch this video and you're interested in seeing the next chapters, and I didn't scare you away with my bad, reading, maybe you'll subscribe, or at least like this video, something like that. Just let me know. Leave a comment. Just let me know, like, what you liked about it, what you didn't like about it. This is all just more of there's no terms or anything to this video. or this whole challenge even. I'm just doing this as just a personal challenge. So hopefully I didn't talk your ear off. It's kind of weird because I'm not used to this. I'm basically talking to my computer screen. Yeah, but I mean, if you like it, subscribe, and I mean, at this point we're at day 2, so there's 26 more days left, and it's kind of fun. It's exhilarating, so maybe you'll join me. Other than that, have a good one. Thank you.